So there was this spar between opposition leader of the opposition in Parliament, Rahul Gandhi, and the Raksha Mantri. And in that debate, Rajnath Singh ji said, and I quote, "The Agniveer scheme was brought in after taking suggestions from 158 organizations." The opposition, meanwhile, claims that many top officers who don't want to be named, some are going public, some are not. They were against the Agnipath scheme right from the beginning. Now, were the armed forces and the Jawans taken in their opinions taken into consideration before the scheme was launched, and subsequently, if there have been any doubts, is there a feedback mechanism?
The discussions on this scheme were very lengthy and very detailed. Okay, it started with a certain proposal, and thereafter it was discussed at length. If I have to put a period to this, it was, if I remember correctly, almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. So this was, everything was debated. Now, when you talk about senior officers were not or were against or were not in favor, that is not the case. The case is when this scheme gets discussed, for example, how would we tackle the technical Agniveers? Should their number of years be longer? Should the percentage be higher of retention of technical people? That was one of our initial thought process, because Air Force is highly technical, Navy is highly technical from that sense. But even Army today, we can't say is not technical. They also have a lot of requirement of highly technical equipment. So these were the areas where a lot of discussion and debate took place. All three services, all the concerned people were involved. Chiefs were personally involved.
So
and all the departments of the three services were involved.
Okay.
What they are talking of, that other organizations, etc., that were discussed, once the basic format was made, the whole paper was circulated to various other departments and their inputs were taken. So it is not to say that it wasn't discussed, inputs were not taken, all the government departments were consulted. Obviously, a scheme like this needs inputs from all the departments.
Okay, civilian as well as military.
Civilian as well as military.
And paramilitary was also taken?
Of course. It goes to all the departments. For example, when it goes to Home Ministry, all the paramilitary related inputs come from them.
Because at that time, we were told that many of them, once the Agniveers finish with their tour of duty, they can be absorbed in paramilitary forces, or they can apply to the vacancies in paramilitary forces.
Absolutely. This was also part of the discussion, that upfront we should be able to say this, and all the three services were keen that this provision of what happens to the 75% people who do not become permanent, what is the plan for that, and that is where all these discussions were also, points were also taken, that there should be a certain percentage fixed reserved in CAPF, there should be some intake process in the DPSUs, we should discuss with corporate sectors that they should give them priority. So in all government organization and non-government organizations, there should be an element of how these Agniveers who go out after 4 years, how will they get absorbed? Okay. And there must be institutional support for that.
Click here to watch the full episode.